Okay, so today I'm going to be sharing what are the common SEO mistakes that businesses should avoid, and also I'll be sharing some tips on how to improve some of them. Okay, by the way, my name is April Cheung and I'm the Senior SEO Strategist at Growth Pros SEO Agency. Okay, so let's get started then. So let's start with why avoiding these common mistakes. Why do you even bother about all these common mistakes, right? So first of all is because all these mistakes is a setback that's going to prevent your site from realizing its full SEO potential. So when you have all these issues on the website, it means that whatever SEO optimizations that you're going to be doing on the website is either not going to help you rank, or is probably not going to help much, right, in terms of ranking. So which is why fixing all these issues is a very important thing. And then, of course, when you are not ranking because of all these common mistakes, it will cause you to miss out a lot of opportunities from your organic search traffic, right? And when you have all these issues fixed, what it means is that it will help to set up your site for a very long-term SEO gains. And for all you know, you may even see an instant lift in your performance right after you fix some of these very, very common mistakes. Okay, so that is why you should avoid these mistakes. And what are these mistakes? Let's go through it one by one. So the first mistake number one, leaving your site not indexable. So what it means is that sometimes, when a website is planning to launch a new version, so they will create this staging version of it. So this staging version is the work in progress that they are going to be doing. And many times, right, they will set this staging version to no index. So no index here basically means telling the search engines not to come in, not to crawl the website, not to index the website, and definitely not showing this website on the search result, because this is just a staging site, right? However, whenever they launch the staging site and take over to the new, the actual live version of the site, they forgot to deselect this no index setting on the site. So what happened is that now this live website is also being treated by search engines, and they're not going to come in, they're not going to crawl it, they're not going to index it, and definitely not going to show it on the search result. So this one is a very silly mistake, but surprisingly, it's also a very common mistake. Okay, so with that said, right, if your website is being not set to not indexable and is not being shown on the search result, this is very, very bad for your online presence, and this is going to hurt your branding as well. Just because if someone is searching for your brand online and they no longer see your websites being listed on the search result, they may think that your brand is no longer there, or it's just not trustworthy enough, right? Whenever you don't have a proper online presence, that's going to hurt your branding, and that's definitely going to make you lose opportunities for potential business. So if you are if you have these issues on the website, so how do you then fix it, or how do we even ensure that your site is actually indexable by the search engine? Very simple. I have one online tools here, so you can check it out. This is a tool for you to check your website's indexability. So just go to this link, put in your website URL, and then it will return a result telling you whether your site is indexable or not, or even how many pages of your sites are indexed by Google. At the same time, you can also check out your own robots.txt. So just go to your domain.com/robots.txt. So that way, usually this is where you can find your robots.txt file. This robots.txt file is being used by all the search engines across, whether it's Bing, whether it's Google or Yahoo and so on. They will be looking at this robots.txt and try to understand what are the pages that they should crawl, what are the pages that they should not crawl. So make sure that you do not have this red color word in your robots.txt. So if you have this disallow : it basically tells robots, basically tells all the search engines not to index your website, which is very, very dangerous. So ensure that you do not have this. So making sure that your site is indexable is a very important first step in SEO, because if you do not have an indexable website, no matter what performance, what optimizations you did on the website, it's not going to help you rank at all. So that's the first mistake. Let's look at the second mistake. So the second mistake here basically is when you are not tracking to see what actually converts on your website. All right. So many times there's websites or businesses, they run a lot of different marketings using different channels and all that, but they are not really tracking the performance. They are not putting in any tracking in place just to see what actually works, what actually converts and all that. So if you ask them, which channels actually brings you better conversion, which channel is bringing you a good traffic and all that, they may not be able to tell you. Sometimes, even if you are doing SEO, you are doing optimizations on the website, you are doing content creation on the website, are these really driving traffics? And are they really driving conversions on your website? So you have no way to know without proper tracking. And of course, if you do not know what works, you will not know what and how to actually improve all this, which is why tracking is a very important piece that I see a lot of websites, sometimes they just do not set these things up. Right, so what do you do? What should you do? How do you actually track all this performance? So first of all, you need to set up a Google Search Console. You need to measure the performance on the search result using the Search Console. So what this means is that basically you are tracking how well your website is being shown on the search result itself, right? This is not even on the website yet. This is just your website is being shown on the search result. So with Google Search Console, you can actually track things like impressions, you can track clicks, you can track the position. And impression here basically means how many times your website is being shown on the search result. Clicks, of course, means how many clicks you are getting from the search result. And position basically tells you where you are ranking, whether it's on page 1, whether it's position 3, position 1, and so on. So all these are very, very important information that you should track to let you know how well you're doing, how many impressions you are getting, how many clicks, and where you are ranking right now. And with this information, you can then be able to improve your performance on the search results. Secondly, you also want to measure the performance on your websites using Google Analytics. So this is where you can track the users' engagement on the website itself. You can track things like bounce rate, the time they spent on the website, and most importantly, whether they are converting or not. What kind of conversion action that they are taking on the website. Are they submitting the contact form? Are they clicking on your WhatsApp button? Are they calling you on the phone? Things like that. So you need to track all these things just to know which action is converting better and you want to improve on that. Of course, you will also want to use third-party tools to track more performance information. Like you want to track your keywords ranking. You want to track your competition, how well your competition is doing against you, or how well you are stacking against your competition, and more. So this is where you can use third-party tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, and much more out there. Just do a Google search for all these third-party tools to track SEO performance, and you should see plenty of them. All right, so let's move on to mistake number 3. So mistake number 3 is not optimizing for local search. So this is especially true for businesses that are serving the local market. Say, for example, you have a co-working space in PJ and you are serving the PJ market, or if you are a plumber in Rawang and you are serving the Rawang neighborhood. So these are businesses that what we call serving the local market. And it is very, very important for you to actually optimize your site for local search. So if you have a very poor or incorrect local information on the website, like addresses, your address, your opening hours, your contact details, all this is going to reflect very poorly on you, not just in terms of Google's eye, but also in terms of your users. If they're interested to contact you, right? If you do not have a proper address, how would they know where to find you? Or if you don't even have a proper contact details, right? How can they contact you? Okay, so and without the proper address and location information on the website, how will Google know that you are serving this particular market? So when someone is searching for co-working space in PJ, for example, Google is not going to show your website on the search result for this search, just because Google do not think that your website is relevant to these searches. Although in reality, you are very, very relevant. Okay, so which is why this is a very important mistakes that a lot of local businesses that they are doing. Another thing is ignoring bad reviews on Google. So whenever you are searching for a specific service, or maybe you're searching for a specific business online, you may notice that most of the time you will see these Google reviews. And if you have a lot of bad reviews on your Google reviews, that is going to reflect very, very badly on you, just because you're going to lose trust and definitely you're going to lose business, right? So ignoring bad reviews is also a very deadly kind of mistakes that you can make. So how do you then optimize for local search? First things first, make sure you add or update your address, your opening hours, contact details, everything on your website. But don't just stop there. You should definitely also update it across all the online platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. All right. So this makes sure that your information is available across the internet. You will also want to create local business listings like Google Business Profile. Google Business Profile is also known as Google My Business, but now they have rebranded it to Google Business Profile. So this is where you see all the reviews, and sometimes you also see your local business showing on the right side of the Google search. So that is coming in from this Google Business Profile. So you also want to list your business listings on these local business directories, even Google Map, Apple Map, Waze, and etc. Right? So all this will give a proper location information to Google. Of course, it will also help your potential client finds you easier because you are basically mentioned everywhere on the internet. Don't just rely on your website for local listing, but rely on these other third-party and external platform as well. And another thing that you can do is to include region-specific keywords on your website. Say, for example, if you are a co-working space, right? Don't just mention you are a co-working space. You should mention it like you are a co-working space in PJ, or maybe if you are doing plumbing, you want to mention that you are offering plumber services in Klang Valley and so on. So this way, first, it helps Google understand which location you are targeting, and if it's relevant, then you will be shown whenever someone is searching for co-working space in PJ and so on. And secondly, it also helps your users understand better, like, they know you are serving their neighborhood and you are the right person for them to actually want to contact. Right, so mistake number 4. So mistake number 4 here is, sorry about that. So mistake number 4 is not ranking for the right keywords. So many times we also notice a lot of websites, they are trying to rank for keywords that are either very, very competitive, that no way they are going to be ranking for it, or maybe they are ranking for keywords that are very, very broad with no clear intent, or sometimes even ranking for and targeting the wrong type of audience. So what does that mean? You may notice that certain keywords is going to be very, very competitive just because this keyword, they have a lot of big authority site, very, very popular websites ranking for them on page 1. So if you cannot compete with them in terms of authority or popularity, you trying to rank for this keyword is not going to help, right? You are not going to get into page 1. And what that means is that whatever optimization that you are doing on the website is just going to go to waste, right? So you don't really want to target keywords that are very competitive. And at the same time, you don't want to target keywords that are too broad. Say, for example, if I want to target keyword like SEO, right? So sometimes SEO keyword can mean many things. Maybe people that are searching for this keyword SEO, either they are searching for a guide, maybe they are searching for an SEO course, or maybe they are searching for an SEO agency. So there's really no clear intent on this. So this is the kind of keyword that we think is very, very broad, that even if you fight very hard to rank for this keyword, it's not going to lead you to any good performance, or even if you get a lot of traffic from this keyword, you're not going to get any leads from it, all right? That is the same for targeting the wrong audience. If, let's say, I'm an SEO agency, I'm looking for people that are searching for SEO agency, but if I just target the keyword SEO and I bring in people that are searching for SEO course, so yeah, I can bring them to my website, but eventually it's not going to convert because they never look for an SEO agency in the first place. So if you're targeting these kind of keywords, it will lead to incorrect content creation, so that this content will either not rank, or it will rank but maybe give you very, very little impressions, or even if they give you very, very high traffic, it will still lead to no conversion at all. So what should you do then? You should find the right keywords to target, all right? So what you need to do is you need to understand your main keywords and look for keywords with the right intent. And in order for you to do that, right, in order for you to really find the right keywords to target, what you can do is you can just make use of Google search. Say, for example, in the example that I mentioned earlier, if I'm trying to target the keyword SEO, right, I'll just go to Google search. I will search for the keyword SEO. And what I see here is, if you look at the screenshot, I see Google is ranking mostly guides, right? Beginner's guide, what is SEO, SEO starter guides and all that. So I can understand that the keyword SEO, basically users are searching for guides. They are not searching for agency. So if I want to target the keyword SEO, first of all, it's very competitive because it's a very short keyword. So I will need to fight very hard for me to actually rank for that. Secondly, even if I rank for it, as I mentioned, it may not bring me the right target audience. So of course, I want to avoid targeting very, very high competition keywords. And then I also want to look for keywords that are a little bit more longer tail. So longer tail here basically means keywords that are a little bit longer in terms of words. So instead of SEO, maybe I want to target things like SEO agency and so on, right? So don't be afraid to add extra words into your main keywords just to make them a little bit more relevant. So I can add in my target audience information into my keyword. I can even add in location into the keyword just to make it a lot more relevant. Of course, a lot more longer tail as well. Because usually the longer the keyword is, the lower the competition is, right? So if your keyword is very long, it means usually the competition is lower and it will be easier for you to rank for those keywords as well. So instead of targeting the keyword SEO, maybe I want to go for SEO agency. So this is how I make sure the keyword that I'm targeting is getting me the right audience, because people that are searching for SEO agency, potentially they are searching for an agency, of course, right? And I can even make it longer, like SEO agency in Malaysia, all right? So that way, I'm not just targeting people that are searching for SEO agency, I'm targeting people that are searching for SEO agency in Malaysia. So again, longer keyword, lower competition, but a lot more relevant to my business. So that way, targeting this kind of keywords will bring you much better result compared to targeting keywords that are either too broad, too competitive, or maybe even bring you audience that is not your targeted audience. And if you want to look for longer tail keywords, you can make use of tools like Ubersuggest. So this is a tool, a free tool that you can use just to find much longer tail keywords. So next, mistake number 5, poorly written or duplicate content. So many times we also notice website owners, they write content on the website without proper research. So usually what they write is that whatever that they feel like writing, whatever that they feel shocks and they want to write, maybe about their own event, about their own company, what features they are launching and things like that. So these are content that we think probably have no demand, no search demand, because people are not looking for this information. They are not looking about information about your company. They are not looking on new features that you are launching or things like that. So people are either looking for services, maybe they are looking for information to help them with their daily life and things like that. So if you write without proper research, you may potentially be writing content that nobody even want to read. So that way, it's just a waste of resource. Another thing is sometimes they may write a piece of article that is not too bad, but then they use an article screener to just reword the content into various versions and post these various versions onto their website, or even use them as guest posts. So this will potentially give you a lot of duplicate contents, and Google is not going to reward you for this. Google is not going to penalize you for that, right? Even if you have a lot of duplicate contents on the website, you're not going to get penalized. It's just that it's not going to help with anything as well. So it's just a waste of resource, a waste of effort, but it's not going to help you with anything. Maybe some of them will be hiring low quality writers as well to write very superficial content. So low quality writers, usually they don't understand your business. They don't understand the subject well. So most of the time when they write, they are just going to give you very, very no value kind of content. So if you look at the screenshot that I have here, this is one just very simple example to show you. If let's say you want to write about why you should use Ubersuggest to research your keyword. So sometimes if you are using low quality writers, you maybe get this kind of content. Maybe you just write like Ubersuggest is a good keyword research tool. It can research keywords for your site. Then you'll be better if you use it and things like that, right? So after you read the whole paragraph, you still don't understand why you should use Ubersuggest to research your keyword. So this is the kind of low quality content that we see a lot if you're hiring low quality writers from Fiverr for $5 and all that. Sure, they can write you thousands of keywords, but it's useless keywords, right? It's useless words, it's useless content, and it's not going to help you rank. So you might as well save that $5. All right. And last but not least, sometimes they may be targeting the same keyword with multiple similar contents. All right. So for example, maybe they are targeting a keyword like a co-working space. So they create multiple content just to target this same keyword, thinking that if you have more content with the same keyword, you'll be able to rank for the keyword better. But this is also a misconception. It's not going to help you. And again, it's not going to get you penalized, but it's not going to help you. And you should not even do this. Okay, so how do you then write contents that actually rank? So what you need to do is first analyze what is being covered by the top ranking competitors for the keyword. So any keyword that you are trying to target, what you should do is go to Google search for that keyword, look at the top 3 ranking position, and look at what kind of content they have on the website. Because the reason why they're ranking in the top 3 is because they must have been doing something right, and Google loves what they're doing. So if you make sure you do the same thing that they are doing, you will have a higher chance of ranking in the top as well. But don't just stop there, right? Don't just cover all the information that they have on your content. Make sure you add in additional value, because otherwise, what makes you better than this content? Why would Google want to rank you on the top instead of these competitors? So you must give additional value in your content. All right. So the idea is look at your top ranking competitors, look at what information they cover, anything that you think is relevant, make sure you add that into your own content, plus additional value, whatever additional value that you can add to the content. So that way you will have a much higher chance of outranking all your competitors. Of course, you should also hire better writers, or even hire SEO writers, right? So with better writers, they are not going to give you superficial content like what I'm just shared with you. They are going to be doing the proper research work and all that. And if you are hiring an SEO writers, even better, because SEO writers, they know what works for SEO, they know how to do proper research work, keyword research, competition research, and all that, and give you a much better and higher quality content. And last but not least, avoid writing topics that mostly rank by very high authority websites, because you just cannot compete with them. If you are planning to write anything related to health, for example, you will notice that these topics are mostly ranked by very, very high authority sites like Mayo Clinic, Healthline, and so on. So if you know you can never beat them, then just don't write these topics. Otherwise, again, you're just wasting your resource on writing content that just not going to rank you on page 1. Right, so next, mistake number 6, not updating your outdated content. So many times also when you look at content that are ranked, right, you'll notice that they will talk about trends, for example. So these trends, usually they are very yearly based. So maybe they're writing trends for 2019 and things like that. But this one is not going to be evergreen, right? This kind of content is mainly just for, if you're writing for, say, marketing trends for 2019, this is only applicable for 2019. So if the year right now is 2021, this content is considered outdated. And if your content is outdated, maybe it does very well in 2019. You see a lot of traffic coming in from this content. But if you are not updating it for 2020 or even 2021, right, you will start to see this content continue to this downtrend and losing traffic. Okay, so you need to keep your content refreshed, making sure that every year, if you're writing this kind of yearly content, make sure you update them every year. All right. And sometimes, some website, they do update it every year. They do create new content every year. Like maybe they write marketing content in 2019, then they will create another one for 2020, another one for 2021, and so on. So, but the problem is that they keep writing the same piece of content with different page, with a totally brand new content. So that way, you may have duplicate content, because most of the time the trend is pretty much the same. Maybe just additional 1 or 2 new contents. So most of the other content that you have will be seen as duplicate. And secondly, you are not really leveraging on the SEO strength of that old content that you have already built for so many years. Okay, so all this means every new content that you're writing as a new piece, they will have to rank from scratch again, starting from the ground zero, then slowly move up in ranking. So that way, it's not going to do you very well. You really need to leverage on the SEO strength that you have built on that 2019 piece and make use of that SEO strength. So then how do you improve an outdated content? First of all, don't write new content with different year. Just update the existing one. So again, what this means is don't create a new page for 2020, another new one for 2021. You should just always update the 2019 to the latest version. Okay. Then next, remove the year from your URL, just so that you don't have to change the URL every year. So say, for example, if your URL is marketing trends 2019, then when you're rewriting it for 2020, you have to rewrite the URL into marketing trends 2020 and then 2021 and so on. So you don't really want to do that. So the best way is to just remove the year, just keep it as, say, marketing trends without the year. This way, you can reuse this same URL every year without having the need to change it. And however, you can still keep the year in your title, in the content title itself. So if I go to marketing trends, I will see that this is marketing trends for 2021, 2022, and so on. It doesn't matter. But just make sure that you don't change the URL that often. Just because every time you change your URL, even when you do a proper 301 redirection from the old URL to the new URL, some of the SEO strength will be lost. And you don't want that. You want to keep the strength as much as you can, because then everything that you update on the new content, right, it will help to boost your performance. Just like if you see this screenshot here, whenever we update a new content to a new version with additional fresh content for the latest year, you will start to see things just start to grow again. So that's the power of improving your outdated content. Okay, but don't just change the year, like don't just change the title from 2019 and 2020 and just be done with it. That's not going to work. You need to make sure you update the content with new, fresh content. So that's the only way for you to see this kind of improvement. All right, then mistake number 7, too many broken links or images. So this one, again, is a pretty silly mistake sometimes, because broken links and images is very easily fixed. But many sites, maybe they don't have they did not put in the resources to actually manage the website properly and all that. So sometimes we see a lot of broken links. But this may also not because of the website owner themselves, because sometimes we see broken links linking to external links, external websites that no longer exist. So in terms of broken links, you may see broken links sometimes in your menu, sometimes internal links that are linking back to your internal pages, and sometimes also external websites that you're linking to, but they no longer exist. So these are the type of broken links that you see often on the website. Sometimes you also notice that images on the website is not loading or just missing, right? And this gives a very bad user experience, because things that are not loading or broken, it just shows, it just gives a very, very bad user experience. And with bad user experience, it reduces the trust and authority that your website gives. And that not just going to affect Google ranking, but it's going to affect your real visitors as well, right? So how do you find and fix broken links? Just use a website crawler like Ahrefs to find broken links and images. So whenever you use this crawler to crawl the website, you will see result like the screenshot here, right? So they will tell you which page has a broken link and you should go in and fix them. Right? Similarly for broken images as well, they will tell you which page has broken image, and then you can go in and just fix it. And once you have identified any broken links or broken images, right, all you need to do is just replace the broken links with new links. Whether this is internal links, just make sure you link it to the right piece of content. And if it's an external link, just find a new external links if the one that you're currently using is no longer available. Similarly with images, if the images is missing, just replace it with a new image. That's it. Okay. Once everything is fixed, you just have to go to Google Search Console, inform Google to validate all these different fixes that you have done. Then this will actually trigger a recrawl from Google just to come in, recrawl your website. And once Google found out that all these issues are fixed, you will see some boost in your performance as well. Right, mistake number 8, YMYL site ignoring EAT. So YMYL site means sites that actually impact a user's happiness, health, and wealth. So YMYL actually stands for your money, your life. So anything that is going to impact a user's wealth, health, this is what we consider as YMYL site. Okay, EAT stands for expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. So right now, Google is very concerned about content on the internet, because as you know, everyone is pushing out content here and there, and most of this content, they are not trustworthy enough. They are not even written by an expert. Okay, which is also the reason why if your website falls under the YMYL category, because this is talking about health and wealth, Google want to see very high authority, and Google want to see that your piece of content is properly researched, is written by an expert, and is trustworthy enough for Google to rank you very highly. All right. This is just because Google do not want to rank a website that talks about health, but is written by an accountant. So there's no trust in it, and potentially the content that you have is not accurate and can even bring harm to the user. Right. So if you're a YMYL website, and you are not showcasing your EAT, this means that the reader do not know who wrote the article, they do not know who owns the website, and they have no idea whether your website is actually legit or trustworthy enough or not. And if you do not have, if you do not show any of this information on the website, Google is not going to rank you very highly, and even your readers is not going to trust your content that much. So this is a very important thing, especially for YMYL website. So if you're a YMYL website, you need to build and you need to showcase your EAT. So how do you do that? First of all, put your address, put your company registration information, your contact details, etc. on the websites and across all the online business listings like your Facebook, your LinkedIn, or any of those online business directories. So all this gives a much more trustworthy signal to Google to tell them that this is a legit website, it is being built by a legit business and all that. All right. At the same time, when you have content or blog article on the website, you want to put who's the author's bio or even the reviewer's bio just to tell the reader and Google this piece of content is written by this particular author or is reviewed by this particular reviewer. Okay, so with that said, right, you will also need to find someone with relevant credentials, right? You don't want to write a piece of health-related content, but the authors or the reviewer is an accountant. So there's no trust credit in that, right? And this person is not even relevant to the industry. So that is bad. You want to make sure that if you're in this industry, find someone that have the relevant credentials in this industry to be the author or to be the reviewer. So that way, the trustworthiness will be built. At the same time, you also want to manage your online reputation by replying to bad reviews or even encourage your customers to give you positive reviews on those online reviews platform. So this way, if you manage your online reputation properly, it also helps to build trust. It helps to build your authority and branding as well. All right, so mistake number 9 is using outdated SEO practices. So a lot of website owners, they may have been reading about how to do proper SEO and etc., but they may be getting it from very outdated source. All right, so that way, whatever SEO practices or whatever SEO strategy that they learn may no longer be relevant in this year. So if they just continue to do it, it may not help in terms of ranking, and sometimes some of this may even get your site penalized. All right, so these are the few outdated SEO practices that we usually see. Like for example, they are still doing keyword stuffing either on the content or on the meta title. So keyword stuffing here basically means repeating a lot of keywords on the meta title, on the content, and just keeps on adding all these keywords without proper context, without writing proper content around those keywords. So this is what we call keyword stuffing, just putting a bunch of keywords on the page. This is no longer going to work because Google is no longer ranking a website based on keywords. They are ranking a website based on the content, based on the context that you are giving on the content. So keyword stuffing is definitely a very outdated SEO practices that is not going to work anymore. Secondly, they are still building a lot of content and just distribute it using guest posts just to help build SEO authority. This is also no longer works because this Google already know about all these different tricks, and they are no longer going to give you much love when you're doing all these things. But it doesn't mean that guest posting is bad, right? Guest posting will still work because it helps you in terms of getting additional exposure that you may not get if you just post it on your own blog post. However, do not expect guest posts to help build your SEO authority because it just doesn't work anymore. All right. Another outdated practice is creating pages for all different, a lot of different keyword variation. Like for example, if you are trying to rank for the keyword plumber in KL, you will create one page for it. Then there's a second variation, KL plumber. All right, you may create another page for it. So sometimes we see certain website, they create a lot of different content around the same kind of keyword, just different variation of it. And this is not going to help, right? Google right now is clever enough, they're smart enough to know that when you are writing content for plumber in KL, it means you can also rank, you're also relevant for KL plumber, right? Because this is just different variation that is talking about the same thing. So you don't really have to create multiple pages for all the different variations anymore. All right. And last but not least, writing for robots. So writing for robots here basically means trying to just put in your keyword into your content, into your headings, your title, but it just sounds very unnatural. So it's not really for human to read, because when a human reads it, we know that this is very forced, this is very unnatural. So this is the perfect example of writing for robots, and you do not want that, because right now Google can recognize all these things, and Google will not reward you for this. So then, how do you avoid outdated SEO practices? Of course, make sure you stay up to date with the latest SEO practices shared by trusted sources like those shared by Google themselves, or even shared by those high authority industry experts. So with this, when you do this, you will always know what's gonna work for your website, and do those things, rather than doing the outdated version that spend you a lot of resources, but it's not gonna help you rank anything, right? Of course, any practices that seems very shady to you, that you think that, just things that you do to try to game the algorithm and all that, these are the kind of practices that you should definitely avoid, because most of the time these are no longer working. And most importantly, always put user experience first, and giving value as much as you can as your main priority. Because when you give a very good user experience, when your content is giving a lot of value to the users, this is going to work for you, and Google is going to reward you for that. Mistake number 10, not having an SEO plan and proper roadmap. So when you fail to plan a proper SEO strategy, that way, whatever that you're doing is just going to be very random. And when you're randomly doing this and that, it may help you in the short term, but it's not going to give you a long-term growth. All right. Similarly, if you're writing content randomly, hoping that it's just going to work, and you're suddenly going to see a boost of traffic and all that, it's not going to work, right? So you need a proper SEO strategy, you need a proper content strategy, just to be able to build your SEO authority, just to be able to build your SEO strength, and eventually it will help to bring up the SEO performance. But if you don't have a proper plan, if you do not have a proper understanding of SEO, sometimes whatever that you're doing is not going to help you. Similarly, if you do not understand how SEO works with other marketing channels, that is going to impact your performance as well. Not just in terms of SEO, but potentially on your other marketing channels. That's the reason why you need to have a proper plan, not just in terms of SEO planning, but also a proper plan on how SEO can work with your other marketing channels. Because many times we see a lot of websites, they run not just SEO campaign, they are also running, say, Google search ads. And we see a lot of cannibalization happening whenever they do this. For example, sometimes they will buy ads targeting their own brand word, their own branding keywords or brand keywords. So when that happens, when someone is searching for your brand, they will see two things. They will see an ad at the top, and they will see your organic results at the bottom. Right, and most of the time when someone is searching for your brand, you are already ranking number 1 to maybe number 3, right? So in the top 3 ranking position. So if they're already searching for your brand, it means they are searching for you. Chances of them clicking on your website is very, very high. All right, so you don't really need to put an ad above your organic result, because if you do that, they will probably click on the ad and not click on your website, the organic result of your website. And this also means wasted budget, because you are practically paying for a click that you would otherwise get for free. So without a proper understanding and without a proper planning on how SEO works with your other marketing channel, this may potentially happen to you. All right, which is why in order for you to be successful in SEO, you really need to do proper planning and do proper research work. All right, so you need to do proper keyword research. You need to do proper competition research, just to understand where you are versus where you want to be, and also where you are versus your competitor. Then with all this research done, you can then plan out your content based on business relevance, based on your competition, and most importantly, based on what you think can be quick wins for you. Anything that you can do right now that can give you instant boost. Those are the things that should be of high priority, instead of focusing on things that are very random, you do not know whether they work or not, things like that. Of course, you should also look for help in areas that you lack resource or expertise, like maybe look for online tools or look for a proper consultant to help you out on your planning and preparing your roadmap. Okay, so that's that's all. So that's all that I have to share with you today. Thank you so much for joining the webinar today. And if you want to know your site, if your site is having any of these common mistakes, just head over to our website at Growth Pro and get a free site audit. All right. So thank you again. And now we open the floor for questions.
Yeah, so thanks a lot, April. And if you have any questions, feel free to just put into the comment, and we will look out for it. But for those who actually are actually following this is going to be four series of it. So if you have any question about SEO, feel free to just comment below, and we will be able to get April to actually answer some of the questions that you have about SEO. And
Yes.
so maybe while I'll search for basically questions. Why don't you just talk a bit about your experience and what about Growth Pro, what you guys been working on, and etc.
All right, sure. So Growth Pro is actually an SEO agency based in Malaysia, but we do have clients not just from Malaysia, but also from other countries like Singapore, Thailand, US, and so on. So we've been helping a lot of websites improve in terms of their SEO strategies, help their website gain better organic traffic. And of course, all this also translate to higher conversion for them, more business for them, and so on. So in Growth Pro, we always believe in white hat kind of SEO strategies because sometimes if you notice a lot of agencies out there, sometimes they are just focusing too much on things that we feel is not very white hat, right? White hat here basically means proper following proper guidelines, following proper Google policies and all that, because all this is going to help you in terms of long-term growth. But however, we also notice that sometimes our clients, they come to us because they have been burned by some of the other agencies that give them very good result, very in the initial stage. But it just quickly turns to downtrend just because they are doing a lot of shady work and a lot of black hat SEO strategies just to bump up their strategies, bump up their performance very quick, but doesn't give them very long-term kind of performance. So in Growth Pro, we believe in long-term performance because SEO, as you know, is a very long-term kind of game. You really need to do a lot of things, and you will not see any instant result. But when you start to see result, you can bet that you can see result for a very long term. Even after you stop running SEO campaign, you stop doing any SEO optimizations on the website, whatever that has been built, if it's being built properly, you will continue to see improvement and growth on the website performance. So that's at the heart of Growth Pro, and that's what we will be doing for most of our clients.
So we have a question from Charmaine. She's basically want to know, like, how do I know if my keyword has too high competition? Anything to measure?
All right, sure. That's a very good question. So earlier I mentioned about this tool called Uber Suggest. So that is one tool that you can use to just key in your keyword and it will return you with a number. So usually the number is up to 100. The higher the number, the more difficult it is. And you really need to know what is your SEO strength in terms of your website. So if your website is pretty new or you know that your website is not very popular at this point, so try to not go over keyword difficulty. We call that the keyword difficulty level. So try not to go over the 20 mark, right? So what this means is that try to look for keyword that has a competition or keyword difficulty level of 20 and below. So that way you will have a much higher chance of ranking for it. So Uber Suggest is one tool. Of course, there's a lot of other tools out there. You can use Ahrefs, you can use SEMrush. These are all the tools that you can try to use to gauge, what kind of competition your keywords is going to be.
Okay, next question. We have a question from Wei Jian. Wei Jian is actually asking about, based on your experience, are Malaysian search term predominantly Bahasa or English?
Okay, this is really hard to say. It really depends on the industry. Different industry, they are targeting different kind of audience, right? So it doesn't mean that Malay is going to be using Bahasa, right? Most of the time, they are also using English. So there's really no distinction between whether Bahasa is being used more compared to English. So that's the reason why we need to do our keyword research, because when we do that, we'll understand a little bit more about, how's the market, whether the market is that particular website's target audience, are they more towards Bahasa or are they more towards English? So with this understanding, then you can put proper resource into whether you want to build content on Bahasa or whether you want to build content on English. And if you feel that, okay, both of them have very, very good opportunity or potential, you might as well just go for both languages. So that will also works.
Okay. At the moment, I don't see we have any other questions. Maybe I will ask one. How about, like, since we're talking about language, and then what is the key difference basically, like if you are doing SEO for various language, like, let's say you are supporting multiple language, like you are supporting English, Malay, and Mandarin. Like, how do you go about that?
Of course, there are few things that you need to take note. First of all is the proper setup on the website, just to make sure that whenever you select a different language, it will be showing you the proper correct language that you selected. So that is not really SEO, but more towards user experience. Secondly, you need to set up your language tag properly. So in SEO, we have this thing called hreflang. So that's the kind of tag that you set up on the website, just to help inform Google or any robots that is coming to crawl your website, letting them know this piece of content, what language is it in. Of course, Google nowadays, they are pretty clever. When they read through the content, they roughly know what kind of language is that. But it is always a good idea to put in the proper tag, just to inform Google that, this piece of content is in Bahasa, this piece of content is in English, and so on. So that way, you're basically helping Google to understand your content better, and you will then definitely be rewarded by Google on this.
Nice. We have a question by Alvin. I think he was going to ask, like, what's the most common tactic that you can get a website banned by Google?
Yeah, so we actually see this a lot. One of the biggest way to get banned very quickly is when you do a lot of engineered backlink. Right, so engineered backlink here basically means just go out and continue to buy backlinks pointing back to your website without really checking out whether that website is of relevance or not, whether they are relevant to your business or website, or whether that website, is it spammy, is it toxic, or is this purely created just to create backlinks for other websites? If you have a lot of backlinks coming from all these link farm, we call it, right? All these websites that have only one purpose, which is just to link to other websites. If you have a lot of links coming in from this kind of link farm websites, Google is going to take notice, and if the growth of these backlinks is too unnatural, you will then get penalized. You will get penalized by Google, or even get banned by Google. So we actually see a lot on this case. We have a lot of clients coming to us because their site is being penalized because of the previous SEO agency did all this engineered backlinking from all these link farms and all that. So they came to us and said their traffic basically just tanked from very high number of traffic to practically zero. So when that happened, honestly, we will tell our client, hey, there's really nothing much we can do, because whenever your site is being penalized, it will probably take you 1 year or even 2 years to recover from it. So no point spending all this money to try to recover from it, and you might as well just create a brand new website with a brand new domain.
Next question is by Cindy. Is there a recommendation of word count for blog articles to have good SEO ranking?
Okay. Usually we talk about long form articles. So long form articles are articles with at least 1,000+ words and above. So that's the kind of content that we think can cover a topic more in-depth way. So usually this kind of long form content will rank much better, just because you have a lot more content and Google thinks that you are giving a lot more value to the user. However, it doesn't mean that writing 1.5K kind of words article is going to help you rank very good. What you need to do is also you need to check out the competition. Like, when you're trying to rank for a specific keyword, right? Go to Google search for it, look at the top 3 ranking websites, and see how many keywords, how many word count they have. If most of them are writing 3,000 words and you're writing 1,005 words, you're not going to outrank them. So that is the kind of competition analysis that you need to do whenever you want to write a very good piece of content that can rank. So there is really no recommended word count. It's just a matter of checking out the competition. If they are writing 3,000, you want to at least write 3,000 or more. That's the only way for you to outrank them.
Thank you very much. And then Wei Jian has another question. What are your top tips for link building in Malaysia?
Okay, link building needs to be very natural. And think about it this way, right? If you want to build link naturally, usually what do you do? So very simple. If you are a local business, you want to build links from local business directories. Like I mentioned, the GMB Google My Business, any local business directories that are legit and active. Those are the ones that you want to list there. You also want to share your websites, any blog articles that you're writing that you're publishing on the website. You want to list them on your social profile. So maybe your Facebook page, your LinkedIn page, your Twitter or whatever, right? So all those are what we call consider as more natural, because we know every time when you have a piece of content, this is how you create backlinks, right? So Google will see all these things and they will not penalize you for that. But if you are just actively buying links every month, and especially when you are buying from those shady websites that charge you very cheap or maybe even free, right? Those are the kind of link building that you do not want to do. All right. Link exchange, in a way, is also not really recommended. But usually we don't really think Google can really find out about it or something like that. So you can still do link exchange, but don't try to do it too obvious. All right. If you have all the websites that are giving you a backlink and you're linking back to them, that is pretty obvious that you are doing link exchange, and you don't want to do that. So the top tips for me will be just make sure you write very good piece of article, very, very high quality, because when you do that, you will naturally get a lot of natural backlinks and a lot of websites that will want to link back to you.
I have a question. So would in terms of your title be something that and clickability be something in consideration of how good your SEO going to be?
It has an indirect kind of factor. It will actually impact your ranking indirectly, but not directly. So for example, if you have a very good piece of title, right? So it increases the chance of people want to click on it. So the click itself is the actual ranking factor, right? The more people clicking on your website, the better the signal is to Google. So when Google notices that your website is getting a lot of clicks, your ranking will also improve. All right. So the title itself, if you write a very good title, it's not going to help you rank better. But if you can get a lot more clicks on it, then that is going to help. So that's why I said the title, if you write a very good piece of title, it will help indirectly improve your SEO ranking.
Yeah, and that's something that we struggle a lot in the community about low effort content, basically.
Yeah.
Derek actually is asking, does paid ad that brings traffic from Google or Facebook helps your blog in SEO ranking?
Actually not. Say for example, if you're running Google Ads, there's this misconception that if you run Google Ads, that brings in a lot of traffic to your website, it helps in terms of SEO. Actually, that's a misconception. So it's not going to help. So if you are doing Google Ads just because of thinking that it will help to improve your SEO, then best not to do that. But Google Ad is a very good way for you to start getting in leads, start getting in traffic to the website, especially if your SEO is not there yet. Because as I mentioned, SEO takes time to build. If you are not at the level where you're getting good, sustainable kind of organic traffic from your SEO effort yet, then you should continue to run ads targeting the keyword that you think is very, very important. So sometimes, when we have clients coming to us, they are running Google Ads and they want to do SEO, we will tell them continue to run your Google Ads, especially if their website's ranking is still not there yet. So don't stop your Google Ads just because you are switching all the budget over to SEO. That's not the right way. Similarly for Facebook, right? If you are running Facebook ad, it can bring the traffic in. Of course, that will send a bit of social signal to Google. But again, social signal is not a very big, it's not going to impact your SEO ranking that in a very big way. So if you're running ads just because you want to improve your SEO ranking, then that's not the right way. But if you're running ads just to bring in the right target audience, just to bring in conversion, then yes, you should definitely go for that.
Okay. We still got a few more. We still got time for a few more questions actually. While waiting for the next question, I want to just also ask, like, what about snippets? Like, what are your opinions about snippets? Like, should you compete for them, or because that sometimes does not translate people going to your website basically?
Okay, so feature snippet, yes, that's very true. Sometimes with feature snippet, right, the user can practically get the information directly from Google search. So that is really there's this very big conflict with the publishers, right? So publisher is thinking that if we rank for feature snippet, then who's going to come to my website? So that's true in a way, but also notice that sometimes feature snippet is not giving the full answers to the user. All right, unless if you are ranking for feature snippet that is very simple, it's a very simple short answers. So that way, of course, feature snippet is going to be counterproductive for you. But if you are ranking for feature snippet that is just like giving them the tip of the iceberg, then the chances of you getting more clicks from the feature snippet is a lot more. So if you ask me whether you should go for that, I would say definitely a yes, right? Because if you're ranking for feature snippet, so far from our experience, you would definitely see a boost in traffic.
Yeah, I think that is something that is often underused, to be honest. But I also understand a lot of our members will have hesitation. It's like, yeah, why would I will try to compete with that, and then all of a sudden, people are not clicking on my site.
Yeah, but usually it's fine because again, from my experience, every time we help our client rank for a feature snippet, we actually see a boost in traffic, not decline. So I think that shouldn't really have to worry about this.
Okay, maybe we'll just go with one last. Yeah, there's last question actually. How much is typical engagement consultant like yourself, and the term or duration, and what's the cost basically? That's is
Okay, so all right. So usually when we engage with a client, right, we don't really set like a minimum duration. So what this means is that there's no contract, unlike other SEO agencies where they may lock you down for 6 months, for 1 year contract, and so on. So with Growth Pro, we actually don't do that. You can leave anytime, even after the first month. If you don't like what we are doing, you can just leave instantly, right? So no question asked. But if you ask me how long should they do SEO, I would say at least 3 to 6 months time, because that's when you really see result, right? If you just engage an SEO agency for 3 months or maybe just 1 month, right? Of course, you're not going to see result most of the time because SEO takes time to build. So I would suggest 3 months, 6 months, but it also really depends on the competition, on the industry that you are in and all that. So that's the reason why most of the time when we onboard a new client, we'll be doing all the proper analysis, the research, just to see what is their competition like, and then inform them, okay, in order for you to see result, this is the kind of duration, maybe 6 months, or maybe sometimes if they are totally brand new website, we will tell them, maybe you need to do it for 1 year. So are you okay with this? So set the proper expectation. The client understands that it takes time to build, and they know this is the kind of time frame that they need to invest in. And if there's a good expectation between both parties, usually we will have this client staying with us for a very long term. And in terms of costs, it also depends because it's all about SEO efforts, right? If you want us to focus more on the website, you want to create more content on the website in a very short period of time, the cost will be a bit higher. But our usual cost for the normal engagement is roughly about 5,000 ringgit Malaysia a month. So that includes, strategizing your optimization, strategizing your website strategy, your SEO plan, roadmap. Of course, also includes doing all the optimizations on the website for you. We are executing all the SEO tasks for you. You don't even have to do anything by yourself. All right. And of course, we will also be the one to come up with the content strategy. We have a team of very, very good writers that has been constantly writing articles for our clients, very, very high quality contents. So what this means is that in terms of SEO, optimizations, execution, content strategy, content creation, we will be doing everything for you. Because we do hear from some of our clients that they engage other SEO agencies whereby they are just consulting. They just give you the advice, they tell you what to do, and you have to execute everything by yourself, and they charge you a bomb. So that's not how we operate. When we do things for you, we execute everything for you. So that's the kind of engagement you can see from Growth Pro.
Okay, I think maybe we take one last question. I just want to have a follow-up on this. Working at SEO companies, what would you advise entrepreneurs to do when they work with SEO companies? Like, what are the things that they usually don't do well, basically? So, like, give you guys access, or what are their planning and etc. Like, what would you be advising them?
One problem that may hinder SEO, when we work with client, one potential issue that we sometimes face is this. Sometimes entrepreneurs or the website owners, they may be too particular about their brand. Of course, we understand that your website really need to reflect your brand, and we don't want to just add in things to the website just for the sake of SEO, right? But sometimes we think that the balance there is something that's a little bit hard to achieve sometimes. Because when we want to execute certain SEO strategy, maybe the client or the website owner, they are not open to those kind of strategy just because they think that it may not look good for their brand, maybe is bad for their branding and things like that. So these are the usual things that we see. And of course, when you are trying to do SEO, right, you may want to be a little bit open to these kind of SEO strategies, especially if your competitors are all doing it, right? And you are not doing it and hoping that you can outrank your competitors. That's not going to happen.
Okay. Let's go with the last question by Derek. Derek Cho is asking, does the duration of people stay on your website and the amount of keyword in your website affects your ranking?
Okay, the duration people stay on your website is definitely important because Google is tracking all these things. When people stay longer on your website, it means your website is giving value. People is enjoying reading your content. They're consuming it for a very long time. So these are all very good and important signals to Google. All right. So which is also the reason why we will also always be looking at time spent on the page just to see how much time they spend and can we make them stay longer. All right. So usually if you look at all this blog content and content on the website, right, they will not just end there. We will try to add in internal links that links them to other pages, right? After you finish this article, we will tell you that, okay, these are all the other relevant articles that we want you to continue to read. Because when you continue to read, you will stay longer, and that is a good signal to Google. So yes, duration people stay on your website actually helps improve your SEO ranking as well. And amount of keywords in your blog. I'm not sure what you mean by amount of keywords in your blog. If you're talking about the keywords, if you're talking about the keywords.
I think Derek is probably looking at maybe thinking about keyword stuffing and stuff.
Yeah, if you're talking about keyword stuffing into your blog content and whether having that keywords mentioned more times will help or not, I would think that it's not necessarily true. All right, you can have one keyword mentioned only one time, but if it's absolutely relevant, then you will still be ranking for that keyword. So if you want to rank for that keyword, you don't have to repeat that keyword many times on the content. However, you can mention different variations of it, or even look for a semantic keywords of the main keyword that you're trying to rank for. Look for the semantics and try to mention some of those semantics keywords on the content. All this is going to send a proper context, and it's going to send a proper signal to Google to rank you better for the keyword that you are targeting. But definitely not using the exact same keyword, trying to stuff it everywhere, especially not doing it very unnaturally.
Yeah, so a good example, if you are ranking like for best dentist in Penang, and you just don't, in your whole article you don't repeat best dentist in Penang, best dentist in Penang in many things. One of the things you can do is like well, we've been nominated as best dentist in Penang by so and so. Then the other part is like this is the other part you can rephrase it in other ways, like saying that our customer has been actually saying that we are one of the better that provide best. So just don't have to be exact same.
Yes, correct. Because sometimes we see articles like pages like, okay, best dentist in Penang. Then they keep on repeating why we are the best dentist in Penang, why you should hire the best dentist in Penang. They just keep on repeating the same word over and over again, and that is very clear example of keyword stuffing sometimes.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think if there's anything I can help Alvin, as I help April to summarize, although Alvin is with us in spirit, is the fact that the number one thing Google care about is user readability.
Yes.
So yeah, like they don't care about it's not as easy as last time. So they care about
Yes.
because the longer you stay at the site, the better it is for them. That's the signal.
Yes, correct. User experience is very, very important right now, which is also the reason why most of the Google algorithm update recently, they are more focused on user experience.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, and thank you very much, April, for sharing this. We'll be doing another session again, and if you want to get your free SEO audit, where can people head to, and where can people find out more if they want to actually get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can just contact us on Facebook, Growth Pro Facebook. You can contact me personally. You can go to our website, growth.pro. So that's our website, and contact us from there as well.
Okay, thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next session. So we'll make the announcement when the next session is. And if you have any question, feel free to leave at the comment below. We'll probably answer the question the next round. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Daniel, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining today.
Thanks to everyone, and thanks, April, and thanks, Alvin, for setting this up. See you.
All right.